How to recognize a Mormon feminist. The code words. Now you might think it's easy to recognize them, but they do hide. They're not always recognizable because they want to remain inside the church for whatever reason, to change it from within. But ultimately, their goal is to undermine the church. They want to change it culturally. They don't believe it's a religion. They believe that it is a culture to be lobbied. And that's one of the first code words, is they call it a religious tradition, putting us on par with any and every other religious belief in the world. And yet that's not what we as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints believe. Is we believe that we are unique in these latter days because of living prophets. And that's what they want to undermine, is the inspired leadership. So I have to say that my personal motivation comes in part because my mother was a Mormon feminist. And one of the signs that she manifested was her anger. Now, Mormon feminists will mostly play along, but underneath there is seething anger at what they consider injustice. Because my mother was so smart, smarter than my father, which in her mind made her more worthy to be the leader in our family, but she played passive aggressive. And that's put all of her 3 sons in years of therapy. Also, they like to say every member a historian. Now that's kind of a subtle, what's wrong with that? But it's a subtle way of saying, if you look at the history of the church, or herstory, that church leaders have made many mistakes. So why wouldn't they be making mistakes today? Mistakes is not a word of loyalty to their religion. It is a word of criticism, of criticizing leaders. And we as Mormons believe that criticizing our leaders, according to Joseph Smith, is the high road to apostasy. So I always wonder, why stay in a church that you're angry about? Is it because you think somehow you're special, that you can lobby for change? And that's another indication. Now, I'm going to get some flack on this, but feminists tend to be attorneys and or historians. There is a woman in my church that I've been having a dialogue with, and I asked her for some Mormon writers, and she gave me writers that used all these code words that underneath talked about mistakes and tradition, and they were all so much smarter than the brethren who lead our church in the priesthood. And so I don't know if she knows how deeply ensnared she is, but it's unhealthy. If you're going to be a part of a religion, utilize your faith and let it trump all your logical reasoning. Not that they can't help one another, but when logic becomes your key to understanding God, then you're lost. And the other thing that I've seen is that in the church, the bottom line for a lot of these women is that they want to promote homosexuality. And they use words like homophobia, or they talk about gay marriage, or, why women can't hold the priesthood. And underneath, it is wickedness. It is trying to promote something of the devil, something evil. And they like to use Adam and Eve as an example and say, look at poor Eve. Everyone says that she was deceived. No, she wasn't deceived. She was just as smart as Adam. Well, maybe she was just as smart, but Adam said no to the devil first, and Eve partook of the fruit. And then Adam, knowing full well that if Eve was cast out, he had to join her in order to keep the commandment to replenish the earth. Another way of being able to recognize a Mormon feminist is that they're really big on civil rights. And civil rights is just another code word for it's okay to be gay. And they like to align themselves with the civil rights issues of the past. And they like to lean Democratic. Just, I don't know why, but it's the popular thing to do. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because there's as many problems with Republicans. But they'll talk about being second-rate citizens and not having all the blessings that men have. They love to talk about Mother in Heaven. Now, I have no doubt there's a Mother in Heaven, but for the scriptures and for the religion that we have, we focus on our Father in Heaven. And He is the one who's doing the governing. And I'm sure Mother in Heaven has other things that she's doing, but women get so hostile about this whole issue and don't think Mother in Heaven gets enough credit, like they're not getting enough credit. And ultimately, let me tell you something. Women in this feminist movement have got personal issues. If you understand anything about psychology, you know that it is whatever somebody's problem is not about something else. It's about themselves. They're feeling deprived or insecure, or like there's a war on women. Boy, is that a code word. What about Hillary? Her war against all the women who were molested by Bill Clinton. She attacked them viciously during the first presidential campaign. And they also love to talk about reproductive rights, which is just another way of saying they're pro-abortion. But they won't come out and say these things because they know they'll be excommunicated. And so they're stealth members. And why not just be honest? Why not just say what you think instead of couching it in these subtleties, and all the while campaigning, lobbying, like the lawyers, the way they think. No wonder that Christ had such a problem with lawyers, because where's their morality when they can argue any side of an issue? Religion is taking a stand on one issue, and that is truth. That's loyalty. It's faith. It's believing in God first and following God's commandments and not thinking somehow you know more than God and His servants. I love women. There are more women who are not feminists than who are. And I think feminism has misrepresented women. And I think Mormon feminism is a lie, and it undermines the religion of faith that we have. God bless you.